You're a delicious blueberry pie. I'm going to give you another yummy update. Ethereum has been the strongest coin fundamentally in all of cryptocurrency lands, but also one of the most hated and the most vomited out. However, just like you build up powder in the keg and it's ready to explode like a cannonball, I think once we hit this sixth resistance tap zone of 3,800, and it will be the seventh here, I think once we hit that, we can actually finally say, I don't want to drink your room temperature orange juice. I'd like 3 ice cubes. Finally, we can actually say that. But we're still not there yet, okay? Ethereum, 2,500, 2,600. I don't want to see these twos, bro. I don't even want to see a 3. I'm not even going to be excited at a $3,000 ETH. You're not either. Like, bro, what do you mean 3,000? What do you mean? We look how far down we are. Bitcoin's 100K. We've got a long way to go. Remember, though, stablecoin, super cycle, real world assets, tokenization of all these assets, tokenization of securities, put in the stock market in cryptocurrency land. All of that is happening. That's why we're going to pump it. Most important part, friends, just show you how much of a major loser Jerome Powell is. I want to give you this update too. Major loser Jerome Powell. All right, look at this. This is USA's annual inflation rates for the past 10 years. Look at this, okay? We're at 2.4%. Isn't that wild? We are back near these 2018 to 2019 levels, right? We're back near there now. The rates back then were like 1.5. Interesting. So is major loser Jerome Powell an actual major loser? Yes. Yes, he is. But I say to you, right? Why is the inflation rate high? Why is that? You know, you could always look at the dominoes and the zombie virus and all these other things. It means like we really want to have a good time. The economy's hot. Like we're ready for the euphoric bull expansion. We're just not there yet, but we're ready for it. We can take it. We're building up towards it. Okay. So everyone's like looking because this is the thing, right? Because we haven't had alt season and like, you know, proper bull market business cycle conditions, not just in cryptocurrency land, but everywhere out there in the US economy and stuff, everyone just hanging around. Everyone's like thinking, oh, if they just cut rates, I'd feel good. If they just cut rates, nope. Nah. We've seen it before. It's not that. Interest rates reflect the economy, all right? It's not that. It's what would really make them go over the edge. I don't know specifically what it would be, but it might be Mr. Japan. Mr. Japan might be one of the contributors. Why? There's Pokemon Island there. Something to make you get amazed, right? Obviously, there's AI running right now. And also in the AI umbrella term, friends, just so you know, right? When I say AI, it means all of the science, mechanical arms, robot dogs. Yep. You know, the robot dogs, and you got to feed it like some digital liquid just for the sake of it. That type of stuff. So it includes quantum, biology things, robotics. They just say the word AI, all the RoboCop stuff, pretty much, right? But if you go into the stock market, financial news, they separate them because it's kind of like in friends. You know, when we say cryptocurrency, there's totally different. You know, there's anything from a Bitcoin and then a Solana and then dog shit Inu from the LA Vape Cabal and then a stablecoin. You know what I mean? We're like, oh no, they're totally different. They're not the same, but you know, they're the same to everybody else. So we need them to pretty much get to a stage where it really just something psychologically we go, oh my gosh, the future is going to be better. The future is going to be so much better than what it is right now. That when we start to get like that, you got to think what would actually make us be like that. I don't know. When it appears and a couple of these things start lining up, we'll feel it. We'll have to check ourselves, right? And we're like, wow, I'm so optimistic for the future. The future is now. It's amazing. We're going to have helicopter blades on our cars. We're just going to be flying around. And, you know, that's the type of feeling you want. Simultaneous to that. See, a lot of people, friends, when I show you this, because this is going to move into our next segment. Business cycles down here. All right. You know what this is saying? It's saying, we're saying, look, Yeah, I believe the cycle is going to be. I think the future is going to get better, but I feel like garbage right now. So remember, it's all about how you're positioned now. Okay, so even though you and I were like, yeah, the future is going to get better, our actions on blockchain and markets are not saying that. Our actions are saying, yeah, kind of like spinning the wheels is boring. That's what our actions are saying. All right. If we were doing excessive leverage, you're looking at all the funding rates and Dogecoin is like, $1.80 and stuff. We're saying something different with our positions. Yeah, we're saying the future is going to be perfect and I'm going to price it in now. We're not saying that right now. Okay, so the secret to markets is positioning. And right now we're positioned for rubbish. All right, and it's reflected in this bad PMI. If PMI was up here, different story, but that's what we're waiting for. Now remember, speaking of positioning, this is the 10-year chart of the Bitcoin dominance, okay? This is a 10-year chart. What I'll do now, I'll actually show you the chart. This is it, okay? Another way of looking at it. This is 12-month candles. So you have to make a decision, all right? What do you want to focus on? Do you want to focus on the box? Because the box is the past few years. You're like, oh, wow, Bitcoin dominance is going up only. Do you want to focus on that? I personally, remember, I could be wrong. I focus on the red arrow, all right? I focus on the long macro trend. The long macro trend is saying altcoins are the infrastructure of Bitcoin and that Bitcoin dominance will go down over time. Okay, that's what this thing is pretty much saying. Like that's what it's saying to me. I know it's very, very long after I drew them, but that's how I'm positioned. Now, if you didn't know better, I'll play some angel music. Some people are going to need it. If you didn't know how the game really works, if you are not a student of history or her story, not just his story, friends, her story too, his and her story, okay? If you're not a student of the past, you will probably make a lot of mistakes. Very, very, very high odds, almost guaranteed, because you'll be amazed, friends. People are really smart. The psychological grooming you get when people tell you what you want to hear. Oh my gosh. Like if you're long and everyone's like, this thing we own is greater than God himself. You'll never need anything else. Red candles have been banned. We're not allowed to go down. We'll never go down. Yeah, and obviously I'm making it fun there, but it's pretty much that's what people say as things just keep going up. They say stuff in those forms. And Bitcoin dominance is no different. But it's tough because humans, right, we look at what's happened recently and then we project it out. So because Bitcoin dominance has gone up for 2 years, you look at the people who are bullish Bitcoin dominance, okay, and that's because I know the game. I know they're full of crap, and I know they'll change their tune in 2 seconds when they can. I know that. Not just guessing, I know they will, right? But most people don't know that. Most people are like, you're fighting the tape. Because you're fighting the tape emotionally with me. You're like, but it keeps getting worse. It's never going to happen. What if they're right? What if they're right? What if they're right? That's what I keep thinking, okay? I'm just going to show you. Look at the Udi. Look at this post from Udi. So that's why I've buttered you up, Buttercup. Now you have some context when I read this, so you're going to understand it. This is only half the post as well. This is going to be a controversial take. Obviously, Udi's a Bitcoin maxi. He hangs around with Eric Wall. Eric Wall and Udi, they are dressed up as the wizards. If you remember, friends, there's some context out here. So remember, Eric and Udi, they went out. They enraged a lot of Bitcoin maxis because what they want to opt for, they like this OP cat thing on Bitcoin, which allows you to put more altcoin data, NFTs, JPEGs, and on Bitcoin, but Bitcoin maxis call it like spam. Okay, because they see it like a religious temple, right? They see it like, it's a temple or it's a church. And like, they're saying, we don't want you to put like your rap concert posters inside the church. That's brochures, that's spam. Throw that junk out. We don't want any of that. Go out there. That's why it's a big spiritual and intellectual battle out here. But what I'm telling you is They're only saying that because the Bitcoin dominance has been going up. Okay, because some compromises will have to get made later on, right? I mean, like, for example, I can just throw this out, with church, I'm sure if I, when digging enough, I'm sure there's been some relaxing of what people are allowed to wear inside church. Like a lot of churches out here, the men and the women can sit together, for example, Well, remember, friends, I'm sure there was a period of time where women, you couldn't even show your neck. Your décolletage, they call it. You could not show your lovely décolletage as a lady. You can't show anything above, like, your ankle. You can't even show your ankles, right? It had to be fully covered. Now, it's probably a bit different. There's many countries and places where it's not as strict. Just to give you an example. Why? Because they made everybody do that. Everyone's like, nah, I can't be bothered going, right? So it's a couple of these compromises that happen over time. Because it's all about the numbers, right? If everybody went to church 7 times a week, and they had those super strict restrictions, they would never relax them. Well, look, it's the same thing with Bitcoin. So this is going to be a controversial take by Udi. My conviction on this is like 80%, not 100. It's pretty much 100 when people say that. I don't think that Ethereum treasury companies or Solana treasury companies or the Tron treasury companies are going to work. Meaning, I don't think they're going to cause the underlying poop coins to sustainably outperform Bitcoin, and their own shares are not going to sustainably outperform the Bitcoin treasury companies. So, friends, I've just got to quickly stop you there. And just remember, I told you they'll do this psychological grooming on you. It's because people just talking shit. They're just talking up. It's called talking your book. Okay. He's basically saying, he's saying, yes, I know that ETH BTC is down 73% after 5 years, but it's not going up. And it can't go up. That's what he's saying. He's effectively saying, remember I said, your coin can't go down. Yeah, he's saying, no, this can't go up. It'll never be able to go up. You see this? It's gone down and it's going to stay down forever. He's basically, what he said is, friends, if I was to draw it, he says this. He says this thing's going to just do that and go to zero. That's what they're saying. Right? Now, when you draw it, you know something's wrong. If you're him and you're like, no, that sounds stupid. Yeah, but their brain doesn't want to look at what I'm saying. Their brain, they have like a full spaz. Because your brain, what it does, we're always throwing out these cope mechanisms because you don't want to act. Because if his brain was to look at me doing, okay, bro, you're saying this chart is going to do this. How much money you want to bet? Okay, would you put 100 grand down that it's not? Yeah, how much? I'll put $1 million. I'll literally put infinite amount of money. Almost infinite. I'll literally put almost infinite. Okay, as much money as I can borrow, I'll take the other side of that bet. Okay. you want to bet this chart does this, bro? Okay, so effectively, but what will happen is people, they don't want to deal with it because their brain keeps getting reminded that they know this thing is cheap. They know Ethereum is cheap against Bitcoin. This is the ETH BTC ratio, right? If you were to act, they have to sell their Bitcoin. They don't want to do that. Okay? And do you know you can just invert the ratio? So instead of ETH over BTC, if you swap it, now it's BTC over ETH. And I have that for you now. This chart is, what it is, BTC over ETH. All right, that's what this chart is. So this is what it's done. Now remember, I've got a monthly chart, friends. They're not looking at monthlies. They're looking at these daily charts. Okay, that's what they're looking at. Okay, so this is what they see. That's what they see. They are seeing this and they go, "Oh my gosh, we are never, ever, ever, ever gonna have to worry again." That's what they're saying, okay? They're saying, whoa. They said, this thing's never coming down, ever. That's literally what he's saying. Word for word, you translate, he's saying this thing's never coming down. He goes, all your ideas and all your narratives, it's not going to make this thing go down. Nothing will make this thing go down. But then what I do is, I'm like, bro, let me show you the monthly chart. You're gonna sit here and tell... you're telling me this chart that did this, that has had... this and that, you're telling me, okay, this is the one that's going to go up forever. I don't think so, bro. I'll take the other side of that. And if you're long altcoins, you're positioned to take the other side of that. So even if you continue, right, look what he says here in this next part. There is a fundamental misunderstanding in the market as to why the Bitcoin treasuries are currently doing well. It's not because they simply put Bitcoin in the treasury. It's because they're tailing Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor is the whale. Everyone else is a fish. Michael Saylor established the flywheel over 5 years. It didn't just happen in one day. He has convinced the market that he can credibly outraise everyone else. And also that he will never sell MicroStrategy's Bitcoin. You're about to get mogged, Udi. You really want to tell me, after everything I just showed to you, you're going to tell me that chart's not coming down. All right. Okay. I'm winning away forever. You just wait for it in markets, right? People just talk a lot, man. They talk a lot, and you'll see. Okay, we'll see. Okay, business PMI is never going to go up. Just to let you know, friends. Okay, we're a month 32. Business PMI being poop. The longest in history was 42 months. But see, you're not leveraged 10x. So if Bitcoin drops 15%, you're not going to get wiped out. That's okay. You just keep waiting longer. Do you see the power of long-term holding, which when you don't have leverage? Because now you and I, friends, here's the thing. When you're on leverage, you have to worry about price and time. 2 dimensions. And one of them is hard enough by it is, okay? But if you don't have leverage, you and us just holding, forget time. We're like, it's coming one day. Yeah, we thought it'd happen by now. Okay, give it another 6 months. And if it doesn't happen by 6 months, give it another 6 months and another 6 months. We'll see. You get it? You get the power of this long-term holding. That's why I even replied to him. Another Bitcoin dominance intergalactic top signal. Infinite signs, infinite arrogance and euphoria. I am staying far away from catching that first Bitcoin dominance bottom. Yeah, man, we got to tell ourselves that because, friends, these people, they have to unwind their arrogance. They've literally swallowed all their bullshit so much. Bro, the US government is going to put stable coins as a number 1 priority because it lets them spend more money. Bitcoin doesn't let them spend more money. But we'll see. No one believes until the price moves. Yes? So it's kind of funny, friends. How is the market positioned? The market is positioned for Udi to be right. Okay, altcoins will never go up again. It's Bitcoin. So it's basically saying Michael Saylor's special. Michael Saylor's special, and this leverage is amazing, and he can raise so much more money. What happens when the NAV of MicroStrategy is not 75% anymore? What if it goes to 0? Just like Grayscale did at the beginning of the 2021 cycle. There's a website, bitcointreasuries.net. Okay, and if you go there, like I am right now, you can basically see all the Bitcoin treasuries. I'm going to clip on MicroStrategy, and here you have their NAV. It is at, see this is the number, friends, we've got to watch. 1.73. So this number used to be, I wonder if they have a chart here. No, it used to be 3.0. I think, yeah. So that basically, when Bitcoin was 100K, people who buy MicroStrategy, you're buying it at 300,000. Yeah, but they don't say it like that. Go, no, I'm making more share per yield. Bro, just tell yourself whatever words you want. You're buying a 300,000 little BTC. Just admit you're trying to get a sucker to buy it at 500,000 so you can sell it on top. But they'll never admit that, okay? Because it's too much for them to admit. But this NAV is 1.72. Oh, man, you know, friends, if that goes down to 1.5 and then 1.4 and then 1.3, I'll be reporting on it. I'm like, guys, you know what's coming. You know what's coming. It's going to hit parity. And what's below parity? Negative discount. That's what happened to Grayscale, otherwise known as Gay Scale. It happened, but it's not there yet. It's not there yet. I'm just telling you that, just big warning sign. Once we get there, it'll get there, bro. It's stock market Ponzi, people. Do you understand? If people could hold on to stocks, we would have never need to make the cryptocurrency industry. They can't hold stocks. That's why we made the whole industry in the first place. That's why stocks give you 8% per year and not 80% per year. If people never sold the stocks, Satoshi would have never need to make Bitcoin because the S&P 500 will be able to give you so much more wealth over their debasement. you've learned a lot today. Like, subscribe, belly button, or catch you soon.